All right, guys, it's Cyclone here, back with Borderlands 4. Um, so, the previous video you see on the channel, uh, I did defeat Bloomreaper in UVH 5. I'm not rushing to do it in UVH 6. Let's explain what the fight is. It's very simple. It is a platformer where the enemies can follow you and jump around, and you basically have to kill enough of the minions to let Bloom Reaper be hittable. He has shielding and invulnerability unless you take out enough of his little guys. And in the gameplay you saw, um, you have to. I SD'd a bunch of times, but like you have to damage him a little bit, run, damage his minions, damage him, run, and always like try to have the grappling hooks in your range, or else you're dead. So you just have to be a little more nimble, um, and be aware of the placing of everything, where everything is. So I beat Bloom Reaper on UVH5. Oh, so now I have UVH6 unlocked. It's, I will say, like on console, I bet it's better on PC. I'm just gonna say that right now. Like I think this boss and the platforming is gonna be more enjoyable for PC players. Like the gliding, and if you accidentally press your dash and do a ground pound by mistake, you saw it in the last video. I SD'd twice because of that. So try not to air dash a lot if possible, because you might accidentally do a ground pound by mistake, and that's a little bit annoying. But besides that, I actually think the boss is pretty fun. We'll have to see what UVH6 brings. Now let's kind of talk about what I did for the run, and then what it looks like the game is doing right now in terms of balance and all that stuff. So you saw that I featured the SMG bod, non-Torg, and I want to make this clear. I would say the ceramic bod is going to be crazy here. Like that's obviously going to be the number one gun for this mode. They did not touch the bod. Can you believe it? They did not touch the bod for this boss. I can't believe they didn't nerf the bod. So right now, as you're playing, right now as you're watching this, get in, use your bod. If you have the stickies, definitely. But it's clear that this is going to be the number one killer for this boss. I don't think there's really a debate there. Yeah, you can use other guns, but I think consistency's sake, this is going to be really at the top. I was also using, of course, a bypass. I do have, so this is interesting. I have a leech bypass. Now, why am I using a leech bypass and not a damage bypass? Well, because Vex has lifesteal. So for Vex, I'm actually finding that leech and lifesteal, and I didn't even have, I'll have to put Deadeye on this for the UVH6. Like, I don't even want to mess with it. I'm going to have to get Deadeye on a syringe and put it on this one. This one, that extra lifesteal is pretty important to keep Vex in the fight and to keep her shields up and her damage higher. So I'm going with this. You can also use damage, of course, like duh, but I think the two areas I went were having more lifesteal for Vex and a triple bypass. And my Vagabond What's for dinner. I brought this bad boy out again. Guys, you need movement speed in your build. That's the one thing. You have to have movement speed. I actually think it's more important than having the amp. You have to have movement speed. I tried it with the amp one. I just wasn't getting around enough, and frankly, being able to position, jump, get to those other platforms with more movement speed is really important. And because we use Vagabond, we need to have our energy shield full, so that also ties into the lifesteal, and that seemed to be better overall. I'm gonna sacrifice damage for the movement speed in this case. And then the other reason why the bod is so good is because you can, of course, stack magazine size in your enhancement. So you can do damage, magazine size. See here I have double magazine, and I also have bullet fabricator. So I actually had moments where I could keep my bod fully loaded for a lot longer. And that was going to be helpful and important. Just not having to worry about reload, like these little tiny things I felt helped the fight go better. And like, look, I'm not maxed out. So I'll have to do this on UVH6 to like really say that I beat Bloomreaper like for real, but like UVH5 was fine. And I know there's a specific drop in UVH6, but really to get Bloomreaper done, UVH5, that was the difficulty that we were testing things at. So now we have to go into UVH6, which I'm now in, and test it there. But frankly, I'm exhausted. Like this boss, there was a lot of adrenaline. I'll say, like it's a good adrenaline boss. It makes your heart race. Like you're trying to position, not get hit, and learning things. I mean, you're going to get taken down very quickly if you're not careful. You saw it. Those badass enemies could do some serious damage. So again, ceramic bod's going to be crazy for this. You really need it, but you can still do it with a non-ceramic, as I've just proved. I think having movement speed and a little bit of extra regen is going to be helpful here. And I just went with, our meta Vex with, Witchy Finger. Like I didn't really mess around. One thing I'd say is conjunction. I currently have a build where there's extra points here, and I would argue that that's important as well. So, conjunction is going to be a good pick there. But yeah, I think this is overall pretty good. There were some close calls in that run. When you get downed midair, that's where it's scariest. If you're midair and something hits you, that's what you have to watch out for the most. So I actually thought about investing in Strike Me Down at one point here, and I frankly might do that anyway, and maybe 1 point away from conjunction, although there were moments where I was at very low health and procced my bypass syringe, so this might have actually been helping me maintain my health just enough to stay in the fight. I don't know the exact math, but like this might have really helped me stay in, whereas this is pull the ripcord, you just were downed. And then here, you have to have enemies in striking distance. So, I mean, this might be a nice skill to have. I might even go into UVH6 with this on, and maybe one less into conjunction, but we will see. I'm not sure. Or maybe I'll lower one of these by one. In fact, that might be how I do it. I might lower, I might lower one of these by one because there should be enough points if I took one out of here to go down here. So I might take a point out of target prescience or something and put it into Strike Me Down. This will have value here for sure. This is going to be important, guys. Like having this is important for this raid boss. So, yeah, but we're not really surprised. The meta didn't really change. Like, they didn't really. So it's still your ceramic bod, your watch for dinner, your bypass syringe, and crit knife helps. I would say certainly, but yeah, I think some of the nuance was movement speed and regen. I think it's actually going to be important to have that and to find somewhere in your build for damage reduction. That just is going to keep you alive for longer. So if you're trying to beat Bloomreaper and you're playing Vex, of course, it seemed to flow pretty well. It's still going to require skill, guys. So like you got to jump, be aware, be mobile, but you can unlock UVH6 if you take some of those steps. I think it's pretty feasible, and it will take some trial and error. It took me 5 tries to beat him, and 2 of them were SDs. So I thought about it. I'm like, I can't stay on one platform for too long. I have to reposition, and also I can't SD. I can't ground pound in the air. So be very frugal with your air gliding, and just be careful not to kill yourself. So that's how I went about it. Pretty fun. Now we have UVH6. I'm going to play around in UVH6 for a bit, not just do Bloomreaper. Forget it. Yeah, UVH6 has been unlocked.